trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, no.
Hello, and good afternoon on this Sunday. I have some things that I want to talk about. I have some things that I need to get off my chest. Because I believe a silent voice is the parameters of doing and going the route that is less travel because it's easy and convenient for you. But I am a believer is that you must go in a way where it's not likable. You must go in a crowd in the opposite direction because I believe that uncomfortableness is where you find growth. If I have someone that believe in what I just said, if you can just drop a heart for this Sunday, because it's going to take love, and sometimes love come into the force of not going the right way, but going backwards. And I'm going somewhere with this. I'm a firm believer is that when you go against the grain, it's uncomfortable. When you go against the grain, that's when a lot of negative energy comes out. I'm a firm believer is that when something is said or when something that is done that is not justly, that is not justifiable or that is not right, and you become silent in those moments, you are an accomplice. You see, I know where I'm going and I know a part of my calling. So I know that when I say and when I speak things, it's going to ruffle some feathers. But I also know it's within those ruffles of the feather, change will happen. Getting out and voting is a fundamental right of a United States citizen. Getting out and vote is so important in our economy right now. For those of you that feel that you don't have to vote or feel that you don't have a powerful voice, I'm telling you, you're sadly mistaken. For those of you that are minorities and you feel that you don't want to get involved and you feel that you don't want to get engaged, I'm telling you right now, if you have watched the news, if you have been watching globally, have all of the uncitizens arrests that's been happening, all of the killings that have been happening to unarmed black men and women, I'm telling you, you owe yourself and you owe your ancestor of the fundamental right to get out and vote. Get up off your ass and you have an obligation to get out and vote. My heart is heavy right now because there are a lot of people that are hurting. My heart is heavy right now because I have seen a country that is strongly divided. My heart is heavy right now because I have seen someone that has hold a position in office that has done it the wrong way and not the right way. I am strongly hurting right now because I've seen people in office that glorifies hate, that glorifies division than unity. It is my right and it's one of my obligations to speak out against the negativity that's going on in our country. I urge every United States citizen to get out and vote in this Georgia state runoff. Your vote, your voice matters, and your voice is important. Get out and vote. I just have some information that I want to share with you. The reason why I'm so passionate about politics, the reason why I'm so passionate about voting. Back on May 7th of 1955, in Belzoni, Mississippi, Reverend George Lee, one of the first Black people registered to vote in Humphreys County, used his pulpit and his printing press to urge others to vote. White officials offered Lee protection on the condition he end his voter registration efforts. But Lee refused, and because of his refusal, he was murdered. Get out and vote. Back on August 13th, 1955, in Brookhaven, Mississippi, Lamar Smith was shot dead on the courthouse lawn by a white man in broad daylight while dozens of people just watched. The killer was never indicted because no one would admit they saw a white man shoot a black man. Smith had organized blacks to vote in a recent election, and he was shot dead in cold blood. And you tell me that your voice does not matter? I'm telling you right now, get out and vote. Back on August 28, 1955, in Money, Mississippi, Emmett Lewis Till, a 14-year-old boy on vacation from Chicago, reportedly flirted with a white woman in a store. 3 nights later, 2 men took Till from his bed, they beat him to death, and they shot him and dumped his body in the Tallahatchie River. An all-white jury found the men innocent of murder. Do you know how many minorities that we have locked up, unjustifiable, that are innocent? How many people that you know just off on holding a dime bag, they are serving life sentences, serving 20 and 30 years. And I'm telling you, a change needs to come. Get out and vote. I'm not done. I'm not finished. I have a lot to say because I have a passion for what I'm doing right now, because I'm tired of the betrayal. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of the hate. Back on June 12, 1963, in Jackson, Mississippi, Medgar Evers, who directed the NAACP operations in Mississippi, was leading a campaign for integration in Jackson when he was shot and killed by a sniper at his home. Get out and vote. Back on September the 15th, 1963, in Birmingham, Alabama, 4 beautiful Black girls, Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, and Cynthia Wesley, were getting ready for church services when a bomb exploded at the 16th Street Baptist Church, killing all 4 of the school-age girls. The church had been a center for civil rights meetings and marches. Get out and vote. September 15th, 1963, in Birmingham, Alabama, Virgil Lamar Ware, 13 years old, was riding on the handlebars of his brother's bicycle when he was fatally shot by white teenagers. The white youths had come from a segregationist rally held in the aftermath of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. Get out and vote. And you mean to tell me that your voice does not matter? You mean to tell me you rather sit on your ass and say that you do not like either person or you don't like either party, but you're losing the focus on what needs to happen to be able to create the change that needs to come? Get out and vote. Back on January 31st of 1964 in Liberty, Mississippi, Lewis Allen, who witnessed the murder of civil rights worker Herbert Lee, endured years and years of threats, jailings, and harassment. He was making final arrangements to move north on the day he was killed. Back on March 23rd of 1964, Jacksonville, Florida, Johnny Mae Campbell was murdered as she walked along the roadside. Her killers were white men looking for a black person to shoot following a day of racial unrest. Back on April 7th, 1964, in Cleveland, Ohio, Reverend Bruce Clunder was among civil rights activists who protested the building of a segregated school by placing their bodies in the way of construction equipment. Clunder was crushed to death when a bulldozer backed over him and he died. And I'm telling you right now, and you have the audacity to feel that your vote doesn't matter. These people stood up against hate. They stood up against racial inequality because they knew that their voice matters. It is our fundamental right in our voting rights system that we get out and vote. Back on September the 25th, 1961, in Liberty, Mississippi, Herbert Lee, who worked with civil rights leader Bob Moses to help register black voters, was killed by a state legislator who claimed self-defense and was never arrested. Never arrested. Lewis Allen, a black man who witnessed the murder, was later also killed. And you mean to tell me you have the audacity to sit when your ancestors when your people who understood that they have a right just like anybody else, just because they're black or just because their skin is darker than the other does not mean that they do not have the right to vote. On April 9th of 1962 in Taylorsville, Mississippi, a military police officer by the name of Roman Ducksworth Jr., stationed in Maryland, was on leave to visit his sixth wife when he was ordered off a bus by a police officer and shot dead in cold blood. The police officers may have mistaken Duckworth for a freedom rider who was testing bus desegregation laws. And you mean to tell me that you can sit there with a straight face and say that your voice does not matter? When I have given you names and I'm giving you documentation that's in our history that we have been undervalued and marginalized, when we know we as of color, minorities, that we have the power to make change if we all coming together. I'm telling you right now, get up off your ass and vote. We not only have a fundamental right to our democracy, but we have a fundamental example to our children, to our nieces and to our nephews, to come together and making sure that we get certain laws in place to prevent what's going on in our country right now. There's no way in hell that you mean to tell me that we should have unarmed black men and unarmed black women being shot dead in cold blood. And when we have cameras that's seeing it all, and it still happened to this day, I'm telling you right now, you have a fundamental right to our democracy to get out and vote. I'm telling you right now, $600 is not enough. I'm telling you right now, $600 is not enough. Let me tell you why it's not enough. When you have people who have lost their jobs, who haven't been able to pay their light bill, that are in their house right now with their children, with no lights, no water, and are struggling to keep food on the table. They're backed up 3 or more months on rent. They have a landlord who needs to get paid because they have to be able to pay the overage costs. And you mean to tell me that $600 is enough to help people that are in need, who has lost their job because of the coronavirus? That is a damn shame. I'm telling you right now, if you want change, you need to get out and vote. This is the year of 2021 where we can start seeing some changes that needs to be made. This is the year where people need to be given more than $600 on the stimulus checks. That's not a damn stimulus check. That's just saying that I did something, just to have the power to say I did something, and just throwing a couple of $100s to people who really are facing adversity, who's really facing of losing their homes. You have people who already have been in foreclosure because these banks have snatched their homes away from them. And you mean to tell me that $600 is enough? You mean to tell me we have people that is sitting in Congress right now thinking that they are doing something for the people? When I see homeless people who have served our country begging for food to eat, when I see people that are less fortunate, they're around the corners of Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and they have their children with them, and they putting up a sign that I say, I will do anything for my family to eat. There are people that are hurting. This is real life, people. It's no joy seeing a man struggling to keep a roof over his family's head. I'm telling you right now, if you don't get out and you don't vote, it is the same as you looking down on somebody and somebody said, if you have $1 that I can have where I can take it for my kids, and you're looking down at them and telling them no when you got $20 right in your pocket. I'm telling you right now, Get out and vote.
Right now, we have a crisis of corruption in American politics. And since we're live on Fox, let me take this opportunity to address directly the Fox audience. We have 2 United States senators in Georgia who have blatantly used their offices to enrich themselves. This is beyond partisanship. And the reason to your question that I talk so much about health and jobs and justice for all the people is that we can unite behind that program. We've lost 9 rural hospitals in Georgia in 10 years. We can reopen them. We can invest in infrastructure to build jobs, revitalize our communities, create opportunity, raise the minimum wage so that people doing an honest week's work can not just survive, but can thrive. And yes, pass landmark civil rights and voting rights legislation to secure equal justice for all. And I humbly and respectfully request the support of everyone who is tuned in on Fox right now. And I'd love for you to log on to ElectJohn, electjon.com. That's electjon.com. Make a contribution to our efforts here in Georgia.
And one more quick one while we've got you. Any concern that the allegations of wrongdoing against Reverend Warnock could possibly be a drag on the Democratic ticket next week?
None whatsoever. Reverend Warnock addressed this issue a year ago. And here's the bottom line. Kelly Loeffler has been campaigning with a Klansman.
What?
Kelly Loeffler has been campaigning with a Klansman.
What?
And so she is stooping to these vicious personal attacks to distract from the fact that she's been campaigning with a former member of the Ku Klux Klan.
Jeepers
I mean, we deserve
creepers.
better than that here in Georgia. And I want to encourage everybody to make a plan to vote on Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ossoff, very much. All right.
Tell them run it up. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up. Flex. Thumb down now. Check. No drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up. Flex. Thumb down now. Check. No drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest.